So welcome back to DecoyNoise, another episode of Am I the Antagonist? And am I the antagonist for blasting a girl for her unreasonable expectations in a partner? So as always on DecoyNoise, I'm going to take the story, I'm going to take it over to Decoy Court where I'm going to give you my knee-jerk reaction. We'll do some top comments and the controversial comments and your comments down below, but let's go ahead and get to the story right now. So OP wrote, "My friends and I can only meet online nowadays, so we were talking via Skype chat. One of the girls, Mary, was lamenting how she couldn't find someone to settle down with, and how all the guys just wanted to have fun with her. She was afraid of dying alone, and the other girls were doing their usual pep talk. One of them said I hooked up so-and-so together, so I got dragged into this. At first I tried to downplay that I had anything to do with it, but they begged me to help Mary out. I asked her what kind of guy she's into. She doesn't know. Then I asked her to picture what the guy looks like. She said tall, good-looking, can't be broke, funny, apparently wearing a suit, and eventually she decided he looks like Channing Tatum or Zac Efron. I told her I wouldn't set her up with someone broke because that's just asking for a bad time, and all the girls agreed. I asked how tall is she, and she didn't know. It's on your driver's license, but whatever. And they said just find someone who's 6'2" or taller. She's pretty short herself, so I figure anyone taller would do the trick. So I already have two STEM field guys in mind who had just started working about 2 years ago. One of them is a workaholic though, so no idea how that's gonna play out. I messaged both guys and asked if they're interested. They are, but they want to know more about Mary. Since I didn't want to say too much, I asked Mary what I could tell them. She says, tell them that she's cute, kind, and caring. That's it. I say, is there any more? Can I tell them that you're still a student, majoring in social sciences? Literally anything else. And she said, nope, but send me some pics to show them. They message each other, and I find out a few days later that she shot both of them down hard. One because he was too short, and so that was a hard pass. The dude was 5'5", that's average. And the second because despite making $90K a year, he was living with his parents to save some money for a house, and therefore no good. Both my friends got pretty dejected over being shot down so savagely. They were nice, hardworking guys who want to start a family of their own. Technically, she might have done them a favor by rejecting them. The next time we were on group voice chat, I effing blasted her for being so shallow. I told her that she was an idiot, taking 6 years to do undergrad, which only takes 4, is in serious debt, no income right now, and lives with her parents too, and doesn't appear to have any redeeming qualities whatsoever, in addition to being a total jerk. Is there any wonder why she's still single? Well, she broke down crying, and all the girls turned on me and called me an antagonist for tearing into her like that. Then I explained that she was absolutely savage to the two friends I introduced. The guys understood and came around, but the girls are still adamant that I went too far. Am I the antagonist for blasting a girl for her unreasonable expectations in a partner? So as always, we gotta take the case and just rush it over to Decoy Court so I can give you my knee-jerk reaction. And I guess, what is it? Exhibit A is their friend Mary wants someone, but they don't want to settle for just anybody, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But if you ask for someone's assistance and they do their best to help you out, just because they fell short of your arbitrary expectations doesn't mean that you can just be mean about it. The idea that he said they were both shut down hard and pretty dejected makes me feel that it wasn't just like a nice ghosting after a first date, or just they didn't feel any sparks. Like, she probably told them exactly why they were being rejected on things that they have no control over. This is the same thing if Mary was asking, like, I really want a painting, do you know any painters? And here's a couple painters that he showed him, and it's like, well, that painting, what the heck, that was on cheap crap right there. And your canvas, that canvas is too small for my preference, ha 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 ha. And being ungrateful reflects really poorly on OP, so it makes it awkward for him in his future conversations and anything that he has to do with, dating with his friends, which I guess we can take it over to exhibit B of, yeah, this is am I the antagonist, not am I right or am I justified? Was I mean when I could have been nice? So the decoy defense for Mary the friend would be, calling out your friend on essentially a conference call is a pretty jerk move. Like, that's the antagonist thing right there. Like, it could have been just kept to the isolated, like, hey, that was mean, my guy friends, they meant well, you didn't need to Comedy Central roast them why they aren't good men. But no, OP went out there saying, like, hey, you're a failing idiot broke college student and no one's gonna love you when you're getting old or whatever. Like, he was doing a little bit too much. And the idea is anybody else on that call, they have no choice but to take her side because he's attacking her, that's the only choice they're given. The idea is OP, what was he thinking? Like, oh yeah, everybody's just gonna jump in when he's clowning her, like, oh yeah, you know what, and your nose wearing those boots, nah, that's not gonna happen. So why OP thought that just because he sent Mary on some blind dates means that it's suddenly his place to teach her about potentially not finding love, which is, I guess I'll say, Exhibit C is the idea that sometimes you just need to let your friends fail, especially in love situations, you know, if they're in love with the wrong person or they're waiting for the guy or girl that just simply doesn't exist. You know, there's no world where you shove the bitter truth in their face and you're seen as the good guy. It just doesn't happen, you know. They're your friends. They're not a dog on a leash where, like, you know, you don't tug your friend's collar back when they're about to sniff a skunk's butt. It's just sometimes you just gotta let it do it, get sprayed, and be like, yeah, you gotta watch out for those guys. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but always, we're judging OP, not judging my bad analogies. I'm gonna go ahead and say everyone sucks here. OP sucks for blasting his friend over a conference call and thinking that would go well. The friend sucks for getting a favor done for them and using it as a moment to, like, shame people for who they are on qualities beyond their control. Because at the end of the day, I don't really shame you guys. I don't shame the viewers. Like, if you're not subscribed to DecoyNoise or you don't have the notifications on, I don't blast you on conference calls in front of all your friends because of your bad judgment. I mean, maybe I should, but I won't. But let's go ahead and say, let's take a short break right now for you to give me your feedback as to why you're not subscribed to DecoyNoise, or just what you think about the topic, because before we read the top comments, we always want to see what we're thinking unfiltered. But let's go ahead and read the top post right now, which is, I need more information. When you say she rejected them savagely, what is savage exactly? And that's one of those things where I just think that that's probably why he went off so much. Like, if she just said, like, oh yeah, the buddies are like, yeah, she just stopped texting me back after she found out how tall I was or something, it wouldn't be like him being all high and mighty. She was like, they got savagely rejected and they felt dejected about it. If he's going on thesaurus.com to figure out what he needs to say to make her look bad, it was probably that bad. But I guess that's just me assuming things. But let's go ahead and read the reply to that, saying, exactly. A lot of guys take anything about sorrowful groveling as savage rejection, and his refusal to explain makes me very suspicious. Which is, I guess it's kind of true. Maybe I'm thinking just too much on OP's side as to if they're getting rejected for living with mom or not being tall enough for her standards makes them seem like it wasn't a nice way. And even being rejected in nice ways sometimes burns. I remember I had a friend that would get rejected by people and he would be like the picturesque person online where nice guy, where they get rejected and then he gets mean about it, like, oh, this is all that, and it's like, yo, why are you doing that? And I do remember when I was younger, it's like if I'm approaching a girl out there in the streets and I say, oh, hi, nice to meet you, and then the girl can actually be polite about it, being like, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you for approaching, but no thank you. And even though that's kind of a polite thing for them to do, to not waste my time and just not being mean, like not saying something, you know, negative about me or my personality or like the way my face is or something, it still makes you feel like, all right, well, F you then. Like inside your head, you're just like, what a jerk, you're not even giving me a shot. And it's like, that's not what it's about. It's just, they're being nice and you're not entitled to anybody's attention. And that's what they're kind of pointing out. The idea is, they're pointing out the idea that sometimes guys just take all rejection as savage rejection, which is kind of a good point. I'm glad that was up there. Let's go ahead and read the next top reply, saying, you're the antagonist. Your reaction was bizarre if this was weird, way too extreme. And here's the thing though, I have met guys where they're, you know, I always would I don't want to dox anybody, but like, I'll just kind of say that I don't want to call anybody out, but it's like, okay, if you thought about, like, you know, a taller, more buff version of me, it seems cooler, and then just the idea that sometimes they have those very, very, very negative reactions to being rejected, and it's like, oh, this is way too extreme, but some guys really do get very upset when they get rejected. So they say way too extreme. I believe that. I believe that some people get too extreme with their reactions. But the reply is saying, yes, if she explicitly said 6'2" or up, you can think expectations are stupid, but why would you waste your friend's time with someone who's 5'5", which is not average at all? Which is, a lot of people keep on going back and forth on that. I'm sure if they were in some third world nation, 5'5" is oftentimes average, but if you're over, like, I believe it's like what in Sweden or the States, like the average height's gonna be like 6 feet tall. So I could see what that is right there. But yeah, OP did kind of set his friend up for rejection of this girl, saying like he needs to look like Zac Efron, who's kind of short himself, or Channing Tatum, who's like model-esque. And you say, okay, let me shove my 5'5" friend that still like lives with his mom. Like, obviously, I don't want to pile on negative things about his friend as well, but she was not going to be interested in him. That was kind of a trap for there. But let's go ahead and read the next top reply, saying, you're the antagonist simply because you don't get to decide what someone else does or does not want in a partner, what they are or not attracted to, or who they do or do not want to invest their time in. You offered your help, she made her decision, and that's that. You don't get to have a say in anything else. It doesn't matter if she's a shallow or a jerk or anything else. She can deal with whatever consequences of her own life choices on her own. It isn't your job to police everyone else's value. You sound like a total r/nice guys too, by the way. Which is true. This is kind of what we were getting at, like the idea that he had such a repulsed reaction to the situation that he just seems like one of those nice guy situations where the small rejection, they get really angry about it, which it does happen. But they're saying the whole idea where you don't get to police what she's thinking, because he, in his mind, he thinks that he's doing her a favor, saying lower your standards, you're not that good of a deal. It was just kind of like a what the heck, it was kind of, I don't want to say, what is it, not the word visceral reaction, but it was a reaction that was, it was a defense mechanism. Like his friends got kind of offended, and then he wanted to just kind of shove it in her face, like, you can't hurt my friends, I'm gonna hurt you now, here's your ego, not knowing that he's gonna make him look like the bad guy. But oftentimes, I don't know how old they are, but they're growing up or whatever. That's why I kind of said everyone sucks here. But as always, top comments are for perspective. Maybe the controversial comments are going to give us a better perspective of whatever's going on. But let's go ahead and read the top controversial comment, which is not the antagonist. She needs to hear it. She sounds like an r/nice girl. She refuses to work on herself or improve who she is, and then rejects any man who doesn't meet her unrealistic standards, and then complains that all men are the same, and she can't figure out why she doesn't have a man. So many people are too lazy to improve themselves, but demand perfection from their partner. It's so entitled. She needs to learn that the world doesn't owe her anything at all. She needs to work on herself before getting into a relationship. Anyway, since she clearly has issues she needs to work through, you did her a favor in the long run. She was cruel to her guys she knew were your friends and then asked you to set her up with. She definitely sounds like a jerk. So this is controversial because it got upvoted and downvoted, but it's the idea that, yeah, probably she did need to hear it, but it wasn't his place to say it. I mean, maybe it is his place to say it because she did reject some of his friends, so it became that sort of issue. But I just can't see him being the good guy in this scenario when he's blasting her. Everything this person right here is saying is correct, but I just think that maybe it went a little bit too far, and I wouldn't go as far as say not the antagonist, but I do understand where this person's coming from. They're a net positive and as far as upvotes, but I can see why this one was a controversial post. But let's go ahead and read the next top controversial reply, which is not the antagonist. Some people need to be brought down a peg sometimes. Your friends seems like this was due. Which is true. Sometimes you need to bring your friend a peg down, which I guess I can kind of contradict myself right now with, if it wasn't OP, then who? Are her like casual friends going to call her out on her crap, or coworkers going to call you out on your crap when you're sitting there and you're kind of getting older and you're seeing your friends getting married and having babies and everything, and you're like, man, how come I can't find this? Like a casual acquaintance isn't going to step in there and blast you for these things, and maybe your family member is too afraid to actually call you out on your crap. So I can see lots of different reasons why OP should kind of be the one that calls her out on her stuff, because he's the one that his friends got offended and he actually should stand up for them. So I see a lot of why they should have done it, but I mean, I guess it just wasn't done in the right fashion. Maybe like a person, maybe he could have said all that stuff in a personal one-on-one conversation, like, hey, what you said to my friend was really hurtful, and these are the various reasons why they kind of didn't like you, and this is, maybe something you should work on. Not in front of everybody else expecting people to pile on. But let's go ahead and read the next controversial reply, saying, I'm going to say everyone sucks here because yes, she was being very shallow and she needs to manage her expectations, but I think you also need to realize that certain seemingly small things will be more or less attractive to different people. She sucks because she doesn't even meet these guys and get to know them before judging their situation in life. She sounds like a princess who just wants to be taken care of. You kind of suck for blasting her in front of everyone. I understand you being angry, but it could have been handled better. And here's the thing, is they got downvotes, but I agree with everything they're saying over there, where she kind of seems like high maintenance. The idea where it's like, he said, hey, why don't you put your best foot forward in this dating situation? Tell them like, oh, you're a social science major, you're interested in this, like, tell us more about you. She was just like, no, just send them my pictures, that'll be good enough. Like, no, not my height, not anything like that, just my face. That's going to be good enough for them to want to date me. And then she can kind of wag her finger and say, not you, not you, not you, not you. That was kind of like, I guess where everybody's getting the whole idea that she's a bad person because she's high standards and doesn't really have the same things that she's seeking in a man. Like, she doesn't promote that, which kind of makes me feel like the idea, I forget who told me a long time ago when I did like a lot of online dating, they say whatever you read on their online dating profile as to like what they're doing, they just want you to beat that. Like, oh, I'm really into traveling, they want someone that's been more traveled than them. Or I'm really into like kayaking or rock climbing, they would like you to be more active than them, that we can show them more of the world, which is 100%, that's all good. Like, you know, that's like I guess a good subtle insight to have. But just the idea where she was like, oh yeah, just show my picture, I don't really want all that other stuff, and then she wants a Channing Tatum or a Zac Efron, which kind of goes to show you that that was probably her primary thing, where she just wanted not necessarily like just beauty and she's shallow, but that should have been more something that he was thinking about, like, oh, this is her best foot that she's putting forward, that's what she wants out of them. So I mean, yes, I guess I'm surely trying to do the decoy defense and have a fair assessment, which I think is, but maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Earn yourself the Decoy coin by giving yourself a comment down below. That I still read everything. I don't have as much time to be doing all the DecoyNoise comments and stuff, but I do read everything as well. And if you can, head over to patreon.com, or no, DecoyNoise.com/donations to donate on my Patreon or on my Ko-Fi. I will have some nice little incentives over there for people that do want to support the channel. But as always, I just appreciate you hanging out with me as long as you have. Go put this on autoplay and watch the next DecoyNoise, and I hope to see you guys all soon.